Imagine this: 54 African presidents representing over 1 billion people being summoned, not merely invited, by a single president from another country. An urgent demand for presence. Do you know Russia, Saudi Arabia, and the Arab League? Last year was no different, with similar high-profile meetings. Yet we must ask, what tangible improvements or gains have Africa achieved from these endless summits?
I'm watching on television, and I find our leaders, who should have been working together all along to address these problems that commonly affect their countries, wait until they are invited to go to Europe, to sit there and just... It's like they are made to sit down and address their problems. Why does anybody wait for that? What image does it even give about us, about Africa? In fact, the image it gives is that we are not there to even address these problems. We are there for a photo opportunity. We are happy to sit there in Paris with the president of France and just talk about addressing problems. It doesn't make sense that our leaders cannot get themselves together to address problems affecting our people. It doesn't make sense. African leaders, we don't need to be invited anywhere to go and address our problems without first inviting ourselves to come together to tell each other the actual truth that we must tell each other about our serious problems.
Our minds back to the 1960s, a time of immense historical significance. Many African countries were gaining independence with jubilation. But across the globe, in a land divided by war, another nation was also taking its first steps. That nation, South Korea, had just emerged from the Korean War. At that time, the economies of South Korea and many independent African nations were on equal footing. Fast forward 60 years, and the difference is staggering. Korea, once a low-income country with over 40% of its population living in absolute poverty in the 1970s, transformed into a middle-income country by the 1980s. Meanwhile, many African nations remained stagnant, hampered by corruption and poor governance. Today, South Korea, with a population of about 51 million, with a landmass of approximately 38,623 square miles, boasts a GDP of approximately USD 1.6 trillion. In stark contrast, Africa, with a population of about 1.4 billion, with a total land area of approximately 11,124,000 square miles and vast resources, has a combined GDP of about USD 3.4 trillion. Despite its immense potential, Africa continues to lag behind on the global stage. President William Ruto of Kenya boldly declared in May 2023,
"We have also decided that it will not going to be business as usual. We have these meetings, Africa-US meeting, Africa-Europe, Africa-Turkey, Africa-India. Now we are waiting for, there is another one, Africa-Russia.
And Africa-Japan.
And Africa-Japan. We have made the decision that it is not intelligent for 54 of us to go and sit before one gentleman from another place. I mean, and sometimes we are mistreated.
Yeah.
You know, we are loaded into buses like school cheats. You know, and it's not right.
William Ruto's powerful statement highlights a stark reality: the indignity of African leaders being herded like school children to listen to a single head of state. But let's take a moment to dive deeper into this narrative. Isn't it ironic that even as President Ruto criticizes this practice, the African Union was established to present a unified front, yet we see individual countries negotiating separately, often undermining collective strength? Why hasn't the AU taken a stronger stand? Can it evolve to genuinely represent and leverage the collective power of its member states?
What is amazing about the African Union, which is the immediate successor of the OAU, is that it's beginning to let Africa down.
The African Union, which is weak,
says the right things and does the wrong things? And what are the critical areas in which we are weak? We are weak politically because nobody listens to us.
We've seen the Korea-Africa Summit, USA-Africa Summit, France-Africa Summit, India-Africa Summit, China-Africa Summit, Russia-Africa Summit, Saudi Arabia-Africa Summit, Arab-Africa Summit, Asia-Africa Summit, and Europe-Africa Summit. The list goes on and on. Does that mean Africa should expect Antarctica Africa Summit? What do Africa gain from this never-ending cycle of summits? Why do African leaders keep showing up when summoned by a single country, jumping from one continent to the next? Why is there an African Union if it has no political muscle to speak on behalf of its member states? Nearly all African countries are either seeking aid or negotiating for resources. The AU can't request aid for them nor create or strengthen diplomatic relations on their behalf. This will surprise you more. What do you think about the funding behind these summits? Wait, remember the late President John Magufuli of Tanzania? For 5 years, he never traveled to Europe but transformed his country. He argued, why fly to meet leaders when there are embassies and ambassadors for that purpose? Why can't all European presidents and prime ministers be summoned for a summit in Nairobi? The answer is simple. Would they show up? Among the countries notably absent from the Korea-Africa Summit are Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Eritrea, Guinea, and Sudan. Their absence is significant and speaks volumes about their stance and circumstances. Let's take a closer look at Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Burkina Faso, along with Mali and Niger, did not attend the recent Korea-Africa Summit. These countries have been navigating significant political upheavals and instability due to recent military coups, which have affected their international engagement. Burkina Faso, in particular, has faced numerous challenges, but has also made notable strides in certain areas. For instance, despite the political turmoil, the country has continued to focus on improving agricultural productivity and is a major producer of cotton, which is a crucial export for its economy. Additionally, Burkina Faso has been working on improving education and healthcare systems under challenging circumstances. Mali, similarly, has focused on agricultural development and has significant potential in the mining sector, particularly gold, which remains a vital part of its economy. Efforts to stabilize and improve local governance, though difficult, continue to be a priority for the Malian government. Niger, with its vast uranium resources, plays a critical role in the global energy market. The country has been making efforts to diversify its economy and improve infrastructure, despite facing severe security challenges due to terrorist activities and regional instability. Their non-attendance at the summit reflects their current focus on internal stabilization and governance issues. Their focus on internal priorities could serve as a model for emphasizing domestic stability and development before engaging in extensive international commitments. Remember the statement made by Africa's most richest man.
Look, we are the only ones that can deliver. We Africans are the only people that can develop Africa. If we are waiting for foreigners or foreign investors to come and develop Africa, it will never happen.
Aliko Dangote. Increased official development assistance, ODA, with South Korea contributing over $6 billion to African nations in 2023, encompassing scholarships, technology assistance, and training programs. The summit also highlighted the importance of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, and South Korea's intention to support technical upgrades to facilitate smoother trade across the continent. These efforts reflect South Korea's vision of fostering a long-term strategic partnership with Africa, aligning with its broader goal of becoming a global pivotal state. The success of these initiatives will depend on continued collaboration and the effective implementation of the agreed-upon projects. Comment below, share your insights, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
If you are still not following us, you are probably never going to see us again. But if you are, congrats. You are on a journey of discovery as we unlock the mysteries of the past.